Non-speaking alternate.
I'm actually going to ask you to keep everything.
Yeah.
All right. At this time, I'd like to call the May 16, 2022 Public Safety Committee to order at 5 p.m. Roll call. Councilor Kelly.
Here.
Councilor Bob.
Here.
Mayor Rosencrantz. And Chair Canales is here. All committee members have received a copy of the minutes of the April 18, 2022 Public Safety Committee. I'll now entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Motion by Councilor Bob, second by Councilor Kelly. Any deletions, anything like that, any discussion points? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Carried. At this time, item 2.1 through 2.5, Director McMahon, go ahead and shoot from the hip from 1 through 5.
Hello. Okay, monthly violation report is something that Lisa sends up to Beth routinely. So for the month of April, we had 6 calling complaints. We resolved 3 of them. 3 of them are still in progress. Year-to-date citizen complaint report, we've had 62 citizen complaints. Year-to-date, 48 have been resolved, 14 are in progress. Year-to-date proactive patrol reports, we've identified 158 violations, 138 have been resolved, 20 are in progress. And year-to-date permits, we've issued 90 so far. We've taken in some more applications, but some haven't been issued yet. So 90 so far as compared to 69 this time last year. We typically do 400 to 500 permits a year, so we're right on pace for that. Fees are double what they were this time last year.
We're doing pretty good.
And then we want to circle back on anything from there so far.
No, I'm just looking at year date last year, 214 permits issued, 252 this year, 63K this year, 46K last year. It's pretty good. We're doing better.
Yeah, so at the bottom of the page that identifies all of the activity. When I said it about the 90 as compared to 69, those are specific with building permit applications and issuances. But then we have variances, contractor registration, a whole bunch of other activities that comes out to the 252 at the bottom as compared to 214 last year.
It's good. I don't have any other.
Good on. Everybody good on
Are you
that?
good?
I appreciate the reports.
Okay. The last thing on the agenda is downtown garbage. Been speaking with the mayor about some issues we've had downtown. Trying to troubleshoot and come up with some solutions moving forward. And I don't, they all
No, you can hand those out.
Copy.
If you hand out.
have, I don't have copies for everybody. So I'm sure you've probably all seen garbage here or there downtown, unsightly in certain areas. We've got some problem areas downtown that we routinely have to circle back on. And one of the ideas we have is requiring some sort of a plan for anybody that's using city property. Downtown is, sure, all downtowns have this issue, right? Where your buildings are built to the lot line, they've got no private property. What do? In the old days, what they did was they kept it in the basement. There's a trap grate in the sidewalk and they put it out up on garbage day. Lots of those have been paved over. They just don't work anymore. It's not a viable solution anymore. So we've allowed people to use city property to store their cans, dumpsters. So it's one of our ideas is to require a plan for anybody that's using that. I don't know if it should be a fee associated or the like, but a plan that's approved and it's got all the relevant information about identified cans owners, proper personnel to deal with these issues. We also like to consider screening around areas that could be screened for visibility purposes. It's harder than you think because some of these areas are second means of egress. You have to be able to pass through there, so you can't just put a fence with nice looking screening on it. You got to be able to maintain access. So that can be more challenging than you might think, but one of my guys was also working with the planner last year about possible central garbage locations downtown. If there wasn't 100 cans out or 20 dumpsters, maybe there was 3 or 4 locations where people brought their garbage, and that could be screened in. And so
I've seen that happen. I've seen that. Trying to think of where I was recently, where Memphis downtown near Beale Street, they have the large trash receptacles that are also the compressed ones. So after it hits a certain sensor with trash, and then eventually it'll compact it and everything else. And
nice.
And then the city will come later that week or twice a week and they'll run and take that out. But it keeps the streets clean completely.
Yeah.
And for that to be on Beale Street, and Beale Street is, knows where all the live blues music is and everything.
Yeah. So all of those ideas come with their own challenges.
Financial costs. It's
Yeah.
mostly financial.
Is there anything you want to jump in on there? All right.
No, I think this all kind of started after I was walking out Protection Alley, which just got paid not too long ago, and one of their grease bins was overflowing onto the sidewalk and onto the street. And I was just kind of like wondering, like, what is happening here? And it's you're looking around and like all of Protection Alley has garbage cans. It is an alley, but it has garbage cans and the trash receptacle. But then we have this parking lot down here that is city property, where there's private garbage receptacles on that property, and then there's the one on the Court Street parking lot, the upper Court Street parking lot.
Yep.
That grassed area is all city owned property, and that is
Private receptacles everywhere.
like just a mismatch of different providers and different vendors providing garbage service to that area. But that's also city property, and then there's even one bin in a parking spot in that parking lot too, right? So that's also the question of, this is, do you want it to look nice? Obviously, we don't want downtown to be littered with garbage. And when you look at these different receptacles through our downtown, they kind of stand out in that way. So, in having that conversation, Joe and I have been trying to figure out a path on what this could look like. We don't have what it should look like. It's just a matter of this is our downtown, and we do want it to look nicer. And then we also have to be responsible that this is city property that a lot of these receptacles are on. So we're trying to figure out a kind of like a plan or a path forward, certainly conveying the concern to the council, which also reflects some of the concern I've heard from constituents walking downtown and visiting downtown, that all of the garbage cans that are they kind of stand out.
We also for a time had somebody from DPW that was dedicated to the downtown and would come down with a truck every day. I personally don't know how many hours they spent down there. May have only been an hour or two, may have been half a day. I have to check with Public Works on that. But they were dedicated to downtown. They came through there and picked up anything loose, that kind of stuff. I don't believe that's done.
We don't have a person stationed downtown full time anymore.
Yeah, I don't believe they were actually stationed down there, but I think their duty was, first thing out the door, they came down did the circuit downtown, spent a couple hours.
We do have somebody that is paid through the parking, the special assessment district. We do have that person that does loop downtown. And they do pick up city garbage and loose garbage, but it also doesn't address the mishmash of garbage providers and bins that are throughout downtown. How to solve for that. Some municipalities say, if you're in the special assessment district, then you're going to use city garbage. That's one solution. It's very heavy-handed. I think if the city provides a similar service as everybody else, there's a little bit more management oversight on where garbage receptacles are located and how often they're picked up. But again, one of the, I think the fundamentally, this is a conversation that we're having, that we're exploring. Any insights from you all, from other communities or from constituents, welcome. We just don't have a solution right now, but it is.
Listen, I'm of the class that says take initiative.
Yeah.
And if there's stuff hanging out the trash, I go around the city and do this legitimately every day. It doesn't matter where I'm at. If there's trash, I pick it up because I care about our city being clean. So it comes down to common courtesy at some point, but we can't enforce that on the citizens.
And then the garbage receptacles and where they're located, that's something that whether it's shielded, as Joe mentioned, or there's some type of solution to it. Joe provided a bunch of solutions and ideas in the back. But you can see that second to last page is the third to last page is double-sided. But you can see that's the Court Street parking lot. Yeah, and the garbage cans are like right in the parking space. You know what I mean? So it's,
Are we gonna be charging?
put a ticket on, parking ticket on.
Yeah.
Maybe
Make them
it's,
get a permit.
maybe it is that we have to say, that the city, if it's on city property, it needs to be city managed, and maybe we offer some sort of discount rate for businesses to do that or something like that. But might be one way to make it more uniform and to have more control.
Yeah.
It is on our property, so
Do
it's not that much to ask.
Do we have dumpsters as a city?
We have dumpsters. I don't know what machinery we have. We don't have the front loader ones. I think we have the ones that load in the back, but I think we do have equipment like that. It's just a matter of the availability of it. I know we have some dumpsters like that at the Crate Center.
Because I'm looking through these pictures and there's one company in particular that are plastered everywhere. So at a certain point, if they're going to be doing business in our city, we have to have a sit down discussion with them about etiquette.
Where their bins are.
Managing them appropriately.
And it's understandable that there's not a lot of space downtown, right? So where they are located, it has to be a little bit more planned. Certainly my mind and Joe's mind, conversations with Pat. So, well, wanted to bring that to council.
I'm going to look into that more.
I think the idea is that being screened into, especially for ones that are businesses, is good because, part of the reason it could be getting excessive is because people are using it to also dump their own personal garbage.
Correct.
Hard to manage, so.
Not right now.
We're good. Thank you, Mr.
Thanks, Joe. Sure.
Item 3.1 through 3.7, Police Department. Chief. Yes, sir.
I can do that.
We can have Lieutenant Mitchell do it if you want.
What's that?
I said we can have Lieutenant Mitchell do it if you.
Yeah, no, we're good. Seeing as how I'm new here, I haven't really spoke to you officially. I know the first time the mayor went through the budget stuff and I'm learning the process. So I'm a pretty quick study, so hopefully we'll get through it. Going through the budget stuff, if you notice on the payroll, we're a third of the way through the year. And we've only used, pretty close, we used 30% of the budget. So we have 63.89% of the budget left for payroll. So that looks good. The overtime, that's been bad, but I've done some research. And I think every year The police department has been over on their overtime always, so I don't know how this board feels about it, but maybe I think we might be able to catch up a little because we just hired 10 new people. They'll be off training soon, so that should help with the overtime. I've done some stuff internally that hopefully will help with the overtime. But I think this board or the full board might want to consider maybe next year, maybe budgeting a little more. I don't know, once we get more people. That's just a thought. I mean, I don't know how you feel about going over the budget every year and taking from the general budget and putting into the budget, but that's what I've noticed that basically the police department has been doing. So in my mind, I think we've not been budgeting enough for overtime. No, but that's a discussion for another day. Probably we should have maybe during budget.
That's a good point.
Okay. Do you want to? I know you were sent a copy of the EO 203. Does anyone want to discuss that?
Yeah,
There's a lot of stuff in that, and just so you know, that was before I got here. Jared, Lieutenant Trombley has put this together. If you have questions, I will try to answer that. I asked him to be here tonight, but I think he had a family issue that he couldn't make it, but we'll get through some of it. And any of the questions that you can't get answered tonight, I'll have Jared make sure he reaches out to you. Because as I said, he prepared this document. He's done all the work. I guess him and the prior lieutenant that left in December did this work prior to me coming. But I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
I've got a lot of questions concerning this, but what I'm gonna recommend is that we just focus on having this re-presented to us in a very good in-depth manner by Lieutenant Trombley next month during our monthly.
Okay, I'll make sure that he's here.
Because it's very important that we understand the scope of work as he saw it from his vantage point.
Yes, I agree with you. Like I said, I can answer some of these questions. I'm a bit familiar, but I can't answer them like he can.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be a fair assessment of what he's
Yeah.
presented, so
I agree.
I don't want to put you on the hook for that. Yes, sir.
A point on this as well is that this report has been sent, I just need to confirm this. This report has been sent to the EO 203 implementation committee
Okay.
for review and comment. If I'm not talking out of turn here, I'm almost certain I sent it to her, to Hillary to share with the rest of her group for review. As we're aware, part of that process is to have that implementation committee review actions taken by our department in line with the recommendations that were made by that committee, and to gauge how far along we are or how far along we're not, and then provide comment on that. Providing that report to them, and I did send it. I sent it on May 11th. So providing that report to them for their review is critical to this process, this ongoing process. Alternatively, even though I haven't received a comment back from that group is also up for renewal. So we'll see a resolution, an appointment, an appointment resolution this Thursday to reappoint members to that board.
I also, Counselor Bopp, I know you were interested in the mental health portion of it. This Thursday, I'm meeting with, is it Rochelle?
Yes.
Rochelle, who's the head of the mental health unit in the community. She called me and we discussed it. So we're going to meet Thursday, so I'm sure we'll get a lot accomplished then as well.
Awesome. Glad to hear that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'd appreciate if you could keep Councilor Bopp in the loop with that as much as
Absolutely.
possible.
Yeah, no problem. You know, and I have some ideas on that as well. These are things that, some of the things that are recommended, some of the things that I've experienced in the 90s as a young BCI investigator that I tried to get implemented with MHU and CPS, to try to work together with police to make it easier for the children and the people with mental health problems. So there's some things out there that can be done.
start with what we can.
Thank you. Chairman, is that, it? What else was on there? I'm sorry, I didn't print a copy of the agenda. Those are the two things.
I'm honestly, well, the PD organizational chart of vacancies, that's something that has been brought up by Councilor Gibbs. She's unfortunately not able to be here this evening, but if you could discuss
Yeah.
what your mind was behind restructuring the organization as you did.
Well, yeah, I can do that if you want me to now.
Yes, please.
Well, when I saw the organizational chart, it was a lot this way,
Mhm.
okay? We didn't have any more of that.
No
We
chain
didn't
of
have a
command.
third, we didn't have a captain, we didn't have a third lieutenant. So that sort of shortened it. In my mind, in a police department the size of this, when you got 46 sworn officers, it should be a pretty straight line. So the chief is at the top of that, then the two lieutenants, and everything branches off under that. Simple as that. Because you don't have that far out branch, there's no more of that. So that's why we restructured that, and we're trying to put the people in there, fill the spots that needed filling. So that's why we did it that way.
Thank you. I understand, but many people don't understand, it's one thing to have an organizational chart, it's another to have a chain of command. And when you marry them together, it brings a good synergy. And I know that's what your thought was, and that it's very well presented. But I wanted it for everybody so that we all can understand.
Yeah, and what it does historically too, is it shows you how many people the police department used to have.
Yeah.
Which was a lot more than what they have now. They had a huge, I say huge, you had a chief, you had a captain, you had 3 lieutenants, and then you had all the sergeants and corporals under them and patrol officers, but you had a lot more people then too. So it's changed, I think organizations are constantly changing, and you're changing the way you do your structure here. And I've been working closely with the mayor on getting it up to date, and he's been very, very good with the police department, so I'm happy with that.
I have one last question.
Yeah,
That is a question that many of the counselors bring up quite often and time to time, and it is a very good question. I agree with the question, but we all may land on different answers. The question is, in your professional vantage point, being in the department and seeing what it is, what is a good number of officers do you believe our department should have?
well, I probably have to, I can wing it, but I probably have to, that question has never been put to me before. But to honestly answer you, Mr. Chairman, I'd have to look at the amount of complaints, the amount of cases that are being done yearly to give you a really good answer. But in my mind, just what I'm seeing right now, 46 sworn members is not enough. What that number is, I don't know. We'd have to do more work on that. So that's just my initial perception. I don't want to just float you a number,
So
because
if the mayor's okay with this, while we have Lieutenant Trombley come next month to present everything for the EO 203, would you be willing to present to us a more thorough analysis of what you believe our department should be, keeping in mind what is going to be needed to
for the
for
203
the 203
structure.
as well?
Yeah, I can do that.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah,
I think I should sit with the mayor though.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your thoughts, Mayor?
yeah, that's one of the reasons why I added 3.6 on here as well. Is because I believe at this point, we have, we as a chief and lieutenants have done a lot of work to stabilize the department, put the backfill the 10, get the 10 up and running, get the middle management, the sergeant layer leadership in place, fill the corporal leadership to a point where I think it would be beneficial to have some type of either wage study done for this department in conjunction with what these guys are doing.
Absolutely.
Along with an analysis of the 203 and how it affects or how it should affect this department. That way, again, much support as I can provide these folks, as much support as they can provide themselves. It would be nice to have a third party to come in and say, okay, let's take a really good, independent, non-biased snapshot into the entire picture. Meaning the number of people we serve that are residents, the number of people who serve that come into our community on a daily basis. Because our,
That's a
as much as
huge
we have-
factor with the. board
Yeah.
ordinance.
Yeah, it's not, we're a population of 19,000, but, we have two major employers, three major employers right here in the city of Plattsburgh, so our population increases based on how many people come in and out of the city every day, tourists not included, but yes, tourists now coming into the city, so we are a police force that not only manages the 19,000, but also the plus 15,000 per day that come into work and for tourism activity. So I think it would be beneficial to have a better understanding of a right-sized police force, what that looks like, what types of services we should be providing, what type of services we provide now that we shouldn't be. Still, just a real true picture of how effective this department can be.
And I agree with that, Chairman. I think if you have that independent study, it's an honest, independent study. I'm gonna give you an honest answer. I'll never lie to you. I'll tell you the truth. But I'm gonna look at it differently than somebody independent. Somebody independent is gonna be looking at other PDs, the size of this. They'll probably look at Glens Falls, sort of size across the state and see what the numbers are. They'll look at the number of complaints that are coming in and they'll put it together. They have a formula for it. So that might be a better way. Have them come up with that and let us sit down and discuss it and tell you our thoughts.
That sounds good. If you have an agency in mind,
I think we go through an independent process of putting an RFP and see who responds and then.
Did you talk to Jack Diamond yet?
No, not yet.
I think you might.
I'll chat. Yeah.
are we as a government allowed to do sole source?
On something like this, I don't know. On something like this, I don't know, but to be fair, I think it's, again, we want an unbiased approach to it. Putting an RFP out there, measuring like who's doing what kind of experience do they have doing this type of stuff, and who they've been working with. But I'll talk to.
And I can certainly, I don't know if I still have the records, but when I was sheriff, we did a study such as this. When Glens Falls, the city of Glens Falls was thinking of turning their police over to the sheriff's office. That was a big issue,
Yeah.
a huge issue. It was a big political issue. And I took the stance, we'll do whatever the people want to do. I mean, is it something we can handle? Sure. But it takes a lot more money. If you think it's going to be cheaper to go from a city police department and have the sheriff's office covering you, you got a lot more to think about. So you need this. So they paid for a big study that was done on that way. So I don't know if those people do that kind of study. I'm sure they do for what you're looking for. I can see if I can find the name of that company, but they did a good job. They did a real thorough study. So those people are out there. Anything else from the chair?
No, sir.
What about 3.2, the arrest report and the dogs and animals?
Oh, yeah, I got that.
Yeah, it's going.
Sorry, thank you. I have that right here with me. Okay. The arrests for the month of April. There were 23 misdemeanor arrests and 4 felony arrests. Animal control, there were, and again, this doesn't go into detail, but there were 21 dog complaints, 0 cat complaints, which surprises me.
They called my office.
Yeah, well, no cat complaints and wild animal complaints, 3 for a total of 24. Does that answer what you were looking for?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Item 3.7, draft resolution. Authorize various travel requests, police department, motion by
Oh, hey, sorry. Just.
Counselor Bond. Give me 1 second. We're gonna need you on a second. Seconded
Oh,
by
never mind. Sorry, I apologize. Never mind.
Counselor Kelly. Discussion.
It seems like a good training opportunity. I looked it up, I ended up like looking up at the.
Excellent training opportunity.
It's a good program.
Yeah. It's fun. Okay, all in favor of moving this to the regular meeting, say aye. All opposed? Carried. All right. Item number 4, fire department 4.1 through 4.4. Chief Lawless, how are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Good, thank you.
We'll go over monthly and EMS fire call volume. We're tracking right on point with last year. You're going to see in some of our, our revenues coming in on point with that, with the EMS. So that's where it's expected, nothing out of the ordinary. The going to payroll and overtime. Payroll is down, overtime's up a little bit. We've done a lot of training and we're going to be coming into summer months. So I'm expecting an uptick in that. We did put out for hazmat reimbursement of about $12,000 in overtime. That's through a 5-county consortium that Clinton County's part of. And they paid for all of our overtime costs to get hazmat techs. We've got next, we're on to the assistant chief. Spoke with the mayor last week on that. Our paperwork is at civil service.
Okay.
And Mayor, did you want to talk about the fire department analysis?
Same thing.
Okay.
Same thing as we discussed with the police department.
So hopefully we can get one agency to do both. 'cause
We
it's
could,
public
I
safety.
don't know if that's the case, it could be one and the same, it could be separate, but again, I think that we've heard enough of, from this council certainly, and community and the departments saying, hey, look, we need some type of structure or some type of direction on where we should be. For better or for worse, I think there are some departments that think they need to be bigger, some, without knowing or not knowing what level of service we need to be providing. So it would be nice to get an independent, unbiased thought on right sizing these two departments so that we can either move in that direction or say, okay, we know, we certainly have a professional opinion about where they should be, but we're not going to go in that direction, or we're going to do something else to provide that same level of service based on that independent study. So same thing. There is no spending resolution right now. I just really wanted to take a temperature of the council of this committee to see, if this is something that we'd be willing to entertain. Sending out RFPs is free. We can surely do that and get a response back that says, okay, if you do this, it's going to take this amount of time and cost this amount of money, and then we can figure out how to pay for it from that position.
I think it's I think this is something that we should bring at least to go through RFP, see if there's a resolution that we can present.
Yeah.
Regular meeting, just so that we can get the ball rolling on this. And at the end of the day, what's going to hurt for getting an RFP, a few RFPs.
Right.
It's be great information.
Mm-hmm. You have anything to add, Councilor?
Just the last thing I would want to hear is someone to say, I think you should have this many firefighters, or I think you should have this many police officers. As long as they're backing up their claims with hard data,
I agree 100%. I think that's going to be the biggest goal of this, is to see where personnel wise we need to be with that human asset.
That's why I love this process. I'm a data person. Let's get it down to some
Let's see the
numbers.
quantifiable
Yeah,
data
as much as
associated with this. We don't want to, lose money here and just bring people in to do it. But
there are plenty of consulting firms out there who lean one way or the other when it comes to policing and fire. It's a very emotional topic. It'd just be nice to find someone who's 100% objective.
yeah, that's why I was hoping that there's an agency that does public safety, just period. Going all the way into FEMA stuff and everything else, But okay. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate you.
No problem. Have a great night.
You too. Item 5.1, draft resolution park and mobile service agreement for mobile parking payments, motion by Mayor Rosenquist, second by Councilor Bob. Discussion.
Yeah, so this is a payment agreement, a contractual agreement with Park Mobile. if you have traveled somewhere where they accept Park Mobile, you can pay with your phone. Same kind of process. It does integrate. It's a 35 cent per transaction fee. It's a 3-year contract. If the projection is that the fee structure will be about $13,000 a year. That has been baked into the revenues and expense projection per projections that Mr. Miller has provided this council. But again, it's one of those, rather than going to the kiosk, you can pay via phone,
Mhm.
or you can go to the kiosk, whichever one you choose. But again, pretty standard for any parking structure or parking system to use a mobile payment system. This is one of the more ubiquitous systems used, more well-known. I use Park Mobile as well, just wherever I park.
All in favor of moving this forward to regular meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carried.
Counselor, I'd like this committee to entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss employee matters.
Sure. Motion by Councilor Kelly, second by Councilor Blunt. All in favor?
Aye.
Recession. I agree. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have my questions. That's my walls. I want to see them.
Oh, see you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, see you.
transient people, you know, that would be really helpful, you know?
Stop a lot of guessing about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, oh, okay.
I don't need to. Just go.
Entertain a motion to come out of executive motion by Counselor Bob, second by Counselor Kelly. We are now back from executive session.
No action was taken.
No action was taken. At this time, is there any new business to bring forth before this committee? Seeing none at this time, there's no public here, so I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mayor Roseborough, second by Counselor Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are now adjourned.
Thank you.